Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what key? Can anybody tell me what is the primary key?
Ma'am, it is the restriction that are applied on attributes.
Restrictions applied on attributes. So what is the
Yes, ma'am.
restriction?
Ma'am, the restrictions are the there should not be any duplicate values, means it must be unique,
What else?
and no cell values must be null.
Okay, so when I declare an attribute as a primary key, when I declare, see, I have shared the screen. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Suppose I have a table. There is a table named student. There's a table named student, and the attributes of the student. All of you pay your attention. If you have a problem, stop me. The attributes of the table are ID, roll number. Okay, roll number. Roll number. I cannot give a space in this column name. So either underscore or hyphen. So roll number, and I have assigned roll number as one of the attributes, name as the second attribute. Achha, let us change this. Instead of roll number, let me change it to EMP underscore ID. And instead of student, let me make it employee. All of you mute yourself. Okay, so it is employee. Employee ID is one of the attribute. Employee name is the second attribute. Salary is the third attribute. Department of the employee is the fourth attribute. Okay. Now I said that employee ID has been made as the primary key. So I have assigned a primary key to whom? I have assigned a primary key to EMP ID. Okay. Now, so this is one of the constant. Primary key is one of the constant where if I assign primary key, employee ID as primary key, then employee ID should be unique. All the values present in employee ID should be unique, and no null is allowed. Here, every row should have an employee ID. No null is allowed means every row should have a value. It shouldn't be null. It shouldn't be kept empty. Done. Now, another constraint was unique constraint. What is this unique constraint? Unique constraint means the column whom I assign unique should have unique values. It can have null, but it should have unique values. Okay. Now suppose here, suppose name cannot be null. Okay, let me assign another. Let it be commission. Commission is another column. The commission the employee gets, and which attribute? Let us assign department as unique. It won't be in real scenario, but let us, for the time being, in this particular table, let us assign unique constraint to the attribute department. So department can be null. Maybe an employee has joined the company. He or she hasn't been assigned a department. For the time being, he or she is not assigned a department. When he or she is not assigned a department, then it will be null. Okay. Now, every employee that I assign here, the department of those employees are unique. Okay, next. What is the next constraint? The next constraint is not null. Not null is another constraint. So we are studying about constraints. We are studying about constraints. Next. Now see, not null. Whom I can assign not null? Not null means it cannot be null. Okay. So if I say commission is not null, so if I assign name as not null, so name is assigned a constraint when name, there has to be a name for an employee. Okay, it cannot be kept null, but there can be duplicate values in the name column. So not null means it cannot be kept null. Next, I can another constraint is check constraint. What is this check constraint? Check constraint means, suppose I assign salary column is having check constraint. That means, suppose if I give a condition that no salary can be less than equal to 3,000. So you are maintaining a table where none of the salary values can be less than 3,000 if you assign a check constraint on the salary column. So if I assign a check constraint on the salary column, and what is I'm checking? I'm checking a condition. What is the condition? I can give here any condition. Here I have given this particular condition so that if anybody tries to insert a value or salary greater than less than 3,000, then it will generate an error and it will not allow to insert that record. What will be the error? Constraint violated. And the last constraint is foreign key constraint. Foreign key constraint. What is this foreign key constraint? Foreign key constraint is also known as referential integrity constraint. Referential integrity constraint. And this check constraint is also known as domain integrity constraint. Why domain? The reason for considering it as domain constraint, because the constraint that we are applying on salary column, check constraint, is applied on what? On the data that is being inserted. And what is the constraint? A check condition. So we say the domain of salary, whatever is the domain of salary, we are applying check constraint on that. So it is a domain integrity constraint. Now, see, instead of, first of all, let me tell you about these four constraints again using SQL. Then I will tell you about foreign key constraint. Okay, so pay your attention. SQL. So last day I said about a table. Let us consider a table, this table itself. So let me insert a table. And the columns are, how many columns we have? 5. So this is a table. And
3.
What are the names? EMP ID, name, and next we have what? Salary. Then we have department, and then we have commission. Okay, so this is your table. One by one, we will insert records here. Now the question is, we have to create this table, isn't it? Because we have to store it in the database. All of you, please pay your attention. Everybody should pay your attention because the syllabus is very huge, and I don't know in this online classes how much I will be able to explain you properly. I don't know that. So let's try, because lab, what I do in the other semesters, what I do is this SQL part I teach in the lab. Okay, the full SQL part I teach in the lab, whereas the theory part, theory means SQL is also in the theory, but since time constraint is there, so I teach in the lab, the SQL theoretical part. But this time I don't know, lab is not there, and I have to complete everything in this theory classes. So try to understand. Now, when I would like to create a database, what is a database? I said, can anybody tell me what is a database? A database is till now we know a database is a collection of
Objects.
two definitions I had said. It is a collection of
Related data.
Related data.
It is a collection of logically related. Don't say related. It is a collection of logically related data. This is one definition. What is the second definition I said? Database is a collection of. The second definition is database is a collection of objects.
Object.
Objects. Table is an object. For example, table is an object, view is an object. So all these are objects. So it is a collection of these objects. Now I was talking about this table. What is the name of this table? EMP or employee. Yes, the name of that employee is employee. So this is your table and the name of the table is employee. Now in this database, what I will do is I will store this table. Okay. In what format? Logically, I will store it in the form of a relation. That means in a tabular structure, I will be storing. So in order to create this table, in order to create this object, we require structured query language. We require a language which is known as structured query language, SQL, structured query language. Now, in order to create this, before that, let me tell you one more thing. SQL are basically some commands through which we will do access the database. Either we will create tables, we will insert records into the tables, we will update the records in the tables, we will delete some records into the table. So these are the operations that we are going to do, and we will do using commands. So every command is categorized in SQL. Every command is categorized into some classes are there. What are those? Some groups are there. The groups are DDL. It stands for data definition language. Data definition language. Then we have DML commands. These are the groups of commands. Okay, some commands comes under DDL category. Some commands comes under DML category. Data manipulation language. Next we have, anybody can tell me? Can anyone tell me what is the next? DQL, data query language. Data query language. What is the fourth one? Fourth one is transaction control language. What is the fifth one? DCL. These are the groups of commands. Now, DCL stands for data control language. Okay. Now, the full SQL commands that are available comes under these categories, these five categories. What is this DDL? Data definition language. Which commands comes under DDL? The commands which deals with the structure of the objects. Just write it. The commands that deals with the structure of the tables, you can write. It can be views also. Okay. The commands that deals with the structure of the tables or objects. Better word is objects. You can also write tables. Now, what is the meaning of this? The deals with the structure of the objects. The meaning is these category of commands, DDL category of commands, either creates the structure, new structure. What is structure? Structure means how many columns will be there, what will be the columns, what will be the data types of the columns, what will be the size, how much bytes a particular column can hold, a cell of a column can hold. So this is known as the structure. Okay. This is the new structure I was talking about. Suppose a structure is already created. I want to alter the structure. Later on, I thought that I will add a column to this structure. So what I will do? I will alter the existing structure. So even when I'm altering the existing structure, so I'm dealing with the structure. So we will, that command will also come under DDL. Clear? If I want to change the size of the column that I have assigned, so I can do that using DDL commands. If I want to change the data type of a particular column, then too I can do it with DDL category of commands. So what did I say? Or these sort of commands, the names of the commands are create is one of the command, alter is the second command. Then we have drop. Drop means dropping the structure. Alter means altering the existing structure, and create means creating a new structure. Okay. Next. Achha, DML I will tell again later on. First of all, let me tell you about DDL. Now, first, what we are going to do, we are going to create this structure.
What does drop mean?
Drop means dropping the table. Dropping means removing the table. Removing the table from your database. Suppose you thought that I will not keep this table, I will design a new table. This table is unnecessary for my database, so you will drop the table. You will remove the table, delete the table. Okay, we will do those things one by one. Now, before DML, DQL, TCL, DCL, let me concentrate on DDL first. Okay. Now, in this DDL category of statements, in this DDL statements, we are going to create a structure. Now, before creating a structure, let me again tell you another thing, that is employee ID. Employee ID is, suppose I want to keep the values in this manner. E1 is one of the employee ID. E2 is the second employee ID. E3 is the third employee ID. So E1, E2, E3, these are all what? Characters. So the data type of every attribute should be mentioned. So the data type of employee ID will be character type. How I will mention, I will tell you. Name. Name is also character type of data. Salary. Salary is of what type? Numbers. So numeric is the data type, or number is the data type. Department is what? Department is again maybe accounts, teaching department, library department. These are the departments. So it will be also character type. Commission is what? Character type. Because if I want to mention 0.1%, if you write percentage, then it is character. And if you only write 0.1, then it is number or numeric. So the basic data types are, there are three basic data types in SQL. They are number or numeric. Then we have char or varchar. There is a difference between char and varchar. I will tell you once I do that. Next, we have another data type is there, which is date. Okay, date has a fixed format. Date, the format of date is DD hyphen MONYY. This is the default format of date. You have to enter the dates in this particular format. Okay, now let us try to create this table. So what I will write? We will write a command where I will write in SQL prompt. How I will get the SQL prompt, I will tell you once you install Oracle. Did I send you the Oracle document? Most probably
No, ma'am.
isn't it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I will do it. SQL. So how I will write it? Create table. Table name. What is the table name I want? I want employee. So table name is user defined. So I will write EMPLOYEE. This SQL commands are case insensitive. You can write in caps, small, it doesn't matter. The commands are case insensitive. So create table name, create table name, then column name. First column name is what? EMP ID. So EMP ID which is the column, first column name. What is the data type of EMPID? Just now I said I can write CAD or I can write varchar. What is the difference? Suppose I'm writing varchar. Oh, suppose I'm writing CAD first. Once I write the data type, I have to mention the size. That means each cell can have at max how many bytes. Okay, so if I write 56, don't write such a big one. Let me write 10. EMPID CAD 10. Okay. Next, I have written. I have what? Name. So name is also. If I write name CAD 67. Then I'm writing what else we have? We have salary. Salary number, and let the this one be 45. Next, I have department. Department is again CAD. Suppose department is varchar. What is the difference? Just wait. I will tell you. Varchar 2, and then I have written 2, 3, 4. And what else I have? I have commission. I will add that later on. I will not add it now. Now see, what is the difference between CAD? Suppose if I have written EMPID, in which format I will write the ID? E1, E2, E3, E4. Your table, suppose doesn't, at max it contains values of 3 digits. Okay. But you have written how many bytes it is you have reserved? You have reserved 10 bytes, isn't it? So what will happen if you write char? Char is known as fixed character type. So the remaining bytes will be wasted. No one else would be able to use that memory. Yeah. But if you write varchar, like in department, I have written varchar 234. I have given the size 234. 234. Although I have reserved 234 for each cell. Now department, suppose department is accounts. How many? What is the number of characters? 5 or 6. So at max, suppose I have 5 or 6 characters in the department column. If I have 6 max characters, then the remaining bytes, that is 234 minus 6, whatever is the remaining bytes, those bytes will be freed up and it will be used by some other programs. Okay, so variable character means it varies according to your data. But what is the max? 234. Why 2? 2 means actually when they modified this version of Oracle, 2 means at max 2000 was there till 9i version. Maybe they have increased the size later on. But here, what did you mention? You have mentioned 234, so it will take at max 234. Okay, if the size of size of elements present in the cell is max 6 or 7, the remaining spaces are utilized by some other program. So this is the utility. Hence, we generally don't write char, we write varchar. Okay, so let us change those and make it varchar.
मैम एक बार कैर का बता दीजिए ना कैर का
char means fixed. It is known as fixed size data type. Fixed size data type means if you mention, suppose here instead of 10 you have mentioned 30. So what would happen if your employee IDs are only 2 to 3 is only taking 2 to 3 bytes or 2 to 3 digits are there. Suppose E1, E2, E3, E4. This is how much? It is not 30, isn't it? 30 characters or 30 digits are not there. Still, you have mentioned 30. So at max for each cell, 30 bytes are reserved. Although your data set is not containing 30 bytes, it is containing much less than that. Still, that's why the remaining spaces will be unutilized and it will be wasted. Nobody else can use that memory.
Ma'am, my question was how only char is different from varchar.
What only? That only I'm saying. This is the difference. Char is fixed character, variable char is varchar is variable character. So according to your data sets, it will take the size. It will adjust the size. It will leave the remaining spaces. If it is unutilized, it will leave that. But char cannot leave it. Char is fixed size. But if I have, like in array, if I mention 30, then 30 bytes are reserved, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
30 into whatever, not 30 bytes, 30 into the data type size. So that much bytes are reserved. So in the array, if you insert only 2 records, the remaining spaces will be unutilized. Isn't it? Same concept here. Same concept. So in case of variable character, the remaining spaces gets utilized by some other programs. So that's why instead of char, always try to mention varchar. Varchar. You can write only varchar or you can write varchar too if you want to give a larger size. Achha, let me come to number. Number 45 means 45 bytes you have at max reserve. Instead of number, you could also have written numeric. See, in number, you can give floating values also. Okay, 0.5, 0.6, anything you can give fractional values. If you write numeric, numeric accepts 2 parameters. The first parameter is at max total how many digits, and the next parameter is known as the precision. Precision means after the decimal point at max how many digits. Here, so if I write, suppose if I assign a number 45.6789, that means what? What was the precision? 3. After point, how many at max, how many digits are accepted? 3, but I have given more than 3. Isn't it? This is not allowed. So I have to give in any value which is less than 3 because precision is at max 3. What is the first parameter called? The first parameter is called scale. First parameter is scale. What is this 45 means? Let me change the number. The number is suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like this. So 45 means at max, including the first part and the second part. Second part means the fraction after the decimal point, whatever is there. So total, it accepts how many? 45 bytes at max. You can give less than that or at max that. Okay. Now, where I was, numeric department is again varchar. So this table is created. If I just write after every command, I should give a semicolon. When I press enter, I will the table would have been created. Now, here, how do I mention primary key? I wanted employee ID to be primary key, isn't it? So how do I mention primary key? I write after writing varchar 230 or varchar the data type, after mentioning the data type, you should write the constraint name. So what is the constraint I want here for this particular attribute? I want primary key. Okay, so I have written primary key. But whenever you will create your table, you will simply not write primary key, you will add something. What is that? You will write after varchar 230, you will write constraint. This is a keyword. I should have shown you this in SQL environment. Acha, next day I will show you. Constraint name. You will give a name to the constraint primary key. So let the name be PK1. Let the name be PK1. So what we did, we wrote create table name, column name, data type, then constraint keyword, then a name, user defined name for that constraint. And what is the type of constraint? The type of constraint is primary key. To whom I have assigned this constraint? To employee ID. Now the question is, two more important facts is, every table name should be unique in your own schema. What is this schema? Schema means when you connect to your database, see, directly I cannot access. I have to connect to the database as an user. Okay, suppose I am a user U1. So I have to connect to the database as U1. When I connect to the database as U1, I will say whatever tables I'm creating in the database that I have connected will be created under my own schema. What is this schema? Whatever is your username, against that username, a logical area is assigned. And what is the name of that logical area? Whatever is your this user ID, that is the name of the schema. Okay, so if your user ID is U1, if you have connected to the database using U1, then your schema is also U1. What is this schema? Schema is a logical area where you will what? Logical area where you will what? Whatever tables you create, it will be created on this logical area. So in your logical area, every table name that you create in your area should be unique. This is very important point. Another important point is every constraint that you are adding, you as a user U1 are adding should be unique. You cannot assign duplicate constraint name. You cannot assign duplicate table names. Is it clear? All of you are writing whatever I'm saying in your copy?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody should write. These
Yes,
are very
ma'am.
important things I'm continuously saying. So you should note it down, okay? Next thing is this type of declaration where I have declared the constraint just after the column for whom I want to declare it. So it is known as column level declaration. What did I say? There are two methods of declaring a constraint. Okay. What are the methods? The methods are, two methods are, one is known as column level declaration. Another one is known as table level declaration. Column level declaration is only when just after the column name and data type, I mention the constraint, then it is known as column level declaration. And table level declaration means, let me show you the table level declaration. This has been written. Okay, let me copy it. Table level declaration means I will not mention the constraint here. I will declare all the columns, their data types, finish declaring the columns, then give a comma, and then write which column you want to assign a primary key. So I will write constraint PK1. What is the name of the constraint? Primary key. Not name, this is the type of the constraint. So primary key. Whom I'm making the primary key, I should write the column name. Whom I'm making? EMP ID. So EMP ID. This is known as table level declaration. This is table level declaration of constraint. And the first one is column level declaration. I think 40 minutes is over, isn't it? 1 minute.
एक सेकेंड
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Everybody has tried. Who is Absar Alam?
Yes, ma'am.
What in this class?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is 505? I will not allow if you don't write your name.
Okay, ma'am.
And everybody will rename with your roll number. Sneha Raj, don't write your full roll number. All of you will write your only 2 digits, last 2 digits. Wait, let me check. Before starting, see again we will design our e-magazine. Okay. So this time, last time, you all did not participate in e-magazine. And I'm sure so many talents, people, students, many students might have talents in different fields. So this time again, I will form a group and you have to participate. Okay, either drawing or write-ups or photography, anything you want, you can contribute. Yeah. And I want some members to like any. Actually, let me talk with the third year students. So you will participate, isn't it? Last time you all did not do it. We had our e-magazine, but only you all did not participate. Other students had participated other years. You can give some technical things also. If you are interested in some technical, maybe you are designing something or any games or any app, anything. Okay, any technical or any research oriented topics, if you are interested in, you can submit it. I will give you the date and other things, then I will expect something from you. Okay, let us come back here. So this is what column level declaration and table level declaration. This is clear to everyone?
Can you repeat the table level declaration once?
Table level declaration means you will declare the constraint at last. Last means first you will declare all the columns along with their data types. Once you complete the declaration, give a comma, then write constraint, constraint name, the constraint type. Here, what type I want? Primary key. So I've written primary key, and in the bracket, you have to mention the column whom you want as the primary key. Okay. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Now, what
Ma'am?
is the? Acha, tell me.
ma'am, this PK1 is constraint name.
Constraint name. Why we are giving? I will tell you. Why it is required? I will tell you. Any other question? Fine. Now see, why we are coming? Why did I say that table level declaration is required, or what is the significance of table level declaration? You have to understand. Suppose I want to make, see, when I make employee ID as primary key, then only employee ID column has unique and null, no null. Unique and no null. So I cannot insert null, I cannot keep it unassigned, and I cannot insert duplicate values, isn't it? But if I want that employee ID along with department ID is a primary key. A primary key which contains more than one attribute, is known as composite key. Is known as composite key. So how do I declare a, now what is a feature of composite key? Feature of composite key is that suppose I want EMP ID comma department name DPT as the primary key. If I want this, so individually it won't be individual employee ID won't be primary key. Combination primary key I want in my table. So if I want combination primary key, the feature is both their combination value should be unique. Their combined value should be unique. And what else? No one can be null. No one can be null. See, I cannot say that combination null is not allowed. What is the meaning of combination null? Null is no value, nothing. So no question of combination value is not null. So that this doesn't stand. So what I want to say is individually EMP ID can have duplicate values. Department can have duplicate values, but their combination should be unique. And individually EMP ID cannot be null. Neither individually department can be null. Let me insert the table here according to this. Suppose if I have E1, here I have D1. Again, I have E2, then I have D2. I have E1, E2, then here I have D1. I have E3, D2. I have E1, D1. Let me check. See, don't write D1. Let us write D3. So E1, D1. Maybe E1 is an employee who belongs to two departments. Okay, it can happen. Maybe the person belongs to library, maintains a library as well as maintains the accounts department. Okay, so E1 belongs to department D1. E1 also belongs to department D3. E2 belongs to D2. E2 belongs to D1 also. But E3 is an employee who belongs only to D2 department. Now see, EMP ID, can I say it is individual primary key? No, because there are duplicate values. Can I say department is an individual primary key? No, because it has duplicate values. But can I say EMP ID department combined value is unique? E1 D1 is different from E1 D3. E2 D2 is different from E2 D1, and E3 D2 is a single value. So their combination is unique. Every combination is unique, isn't it? So, and moreover, there are no null. So I can say EMP ID department follows the combination primary key rule. But if I, instead of E1, D3, if I had written D1, then what is happening? E1, D1, and again E1, D1. So their combination is not unique. If you insert like this, then you will get an error that constraint, primary key constraint violated. Is it clear? Now, can I insert null here? No, no null is allowed. Okay, neither in this column nor in that column. Till this, is it clear? Any doubt? Any doubt in this, what I said?
No, ma'am.
Everybody understood? Yes or no? Tell me,
Yes, ma'am.
if you have any
Yes,
doubt,
Yes,
then
ma'am.
please clarify it now itself before I go in details. Achha, now the question is, what is the significance of this table level declaration? Why the concept of table level declaration came? If I want combination attribute as primary key, then can I write EMPID varchar 230 constraint PK1 primary key, and then I want department also as the primary key. So again, I'm writing constraint. Oh, let me remove. Achha, just copy. Let me copy it from here, and I'm writing same thing here. Can I do this? No, I cannot do this, because another important feature is you have to remember a table, a single table cannot have more than one primary key. A table cannot have more than one primary key. If I mention this, the composite primary key in this manner, then it seems as if EMPID is the primary key and department is a separate primary key. A table cannot have two primary keys, and moreover, this doesn't mean that they are combinedly unique and not null. So in order to make them combination primary, in order to create combination primary key or any constraint, if I want composite constraint, then I cannot mention it in column level. I always have to mention in table level. Now, how do I mention in table level? I will write constraint PK1 primary key, EMPID as one of the component, and the other component is department. This is a composite attribute. Clear? This is a composite primary key. Is it clear? Next. I hope it's clear. Next, why we are giving the name for a constraint. One student asked me why we are giving a name. This is not compulsory. This is optional. You may have not given this. It is optional. We could have directly written primary key EMPID department. Or in column level, if you want, you could have directly written after the data type, you could have written primary key, EMPID, data type, primary key. This is allowed. You won't get any error. But the thing is, suppose later on you thought that, no, ma'am, I will not make EMPID as the primary key. I will make somebody else as the primary key, because my employees are every time getting repeated, employee IDs are repeated, and hence I will not make it primary key. I will remove this primary key. I will remove the constraint. How do I remove a constraint? If I want to remove a constraint, how do I remove it? There are many primary keys in several tables, isn't it? Or there may be two check constraint in a single table. There may be two unique constraint in the single table. There may be two foreign key constraint in the single table. How we will identify which one I want to remove? Actually, what happens is every constraint against every table, a name is automatically assigned by the system. System means the DBMS software. Tables are divided into two categories. One is user-defined tables. Everybody can listen me because it is showing me internet connection problem.
Audible.
No.
Audible.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what I was saying, yes, tables are of two types: user-defined tables and system tables. What is the system tables? System tables are automatically created by the DBMS software, or we can say it is automatically created by the system. User-defined tables are the users explicitly creates it. System tables, users do not create, it is automatically created. For example, whenever you create a table, press enter and it shows you table created. Along with that table, in the system table, there are lots of system tables. In a particular system table, your table's informations are kept. who has created the table, at what time the table was created, what are the constraints available in the table. These informations, which are known as metadata, one sort of metadata, they are kept in the system table against your table. Okay. Now, whenever you create a primary key, to this primary key, the system also assigns a name to the constraint that you have assigned to your table. Now, what is the name? The name starts with sys underscore a number. Clear? The default name the system assigns starts with sys underscore a number. Who is this sys? What did I say last day? Who is sys? Anyone?
System administrator.
System admin.
Sys is a user, who has some administrative power. Sys has lots of privileges which normal user doesn't have. Okay, so in DBMS terms, this is known as a DBA or database administrator. So every data that is automatically inserted in the system table is done by against which name? Sys name. Okay, sys as a sys. Who is inserting? As if the administrator sys is inserting into the system table. So the constraint name starts with sys underscore a unique number. Here. Now, when you want to drop a constraint, drop means remove, delete. Suppose I said, I don't want EMP ID to be the primary key. So what I will do, I will drop that constraint. When I want to drop that constraint, I write in this manner. Just see. Alter. When I'm dropping a constraint, that means the constraint is already created. A table is there, already existing table is there, constraint is there. Now I'm changing the structure, I'm altering the structure. So alter is another DDL statement. Hence I write alter table. What is the name of the table? Employee. Alter table employee, drop constraint, and the name of the constraint. Okay. So from where I will find out the name of the constraint? I have to know the name, isn't it? Otherwise, because I did not give a name explicitly, system has already given a name. So there is a system table called user underscore constraints. Under user underscore constraints system table, the name you have to find out for this constraint. It is a very tedious job in order to find out the name of the constraint given by the system automatically. It is a tedious job. We can do that, but generally for easier accessing purpose, what we do, we give our own name. So that if I give a name on my own, so I write constraint pk1 is the name I have given to this constraint. So I can simply write drop constraint pk1. And every constraint name is unique. So whenever I write pk1, it automatically drops this particular constraint on employee ID. Clear? This is the reason for giving a name to a constraint. So what did I write? Alter table name, drop constraint name. So once I write this and press enter, your constraint primary key will be removed. Understood? Is it clear till this?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next. Since I already said you about alter, let me complete this alter. Suppose I want to add another column commission. I have a column commission. I did not add it till now. So what I will do, the table is already existing with 4 columns. I want to add another column. So if I want to add another column, I'm again changing the structure of the table. When I'm changing the structure, I use the alter. So alter table employee. Alter table employee. Now what I want to do, I want to change, I want to add, sorry, I want to add. So I will write add column. Add column, what new column I want? Commission. What is the data type I want? I suppose I want number and the size. Okay. Alter table table name, add column, commission, number. Achha, all of you, when you execute this, if you execute this, if you get an error, then remove this column keyword. Okay. The column keyword is there or not, just test it. It may be there, it may not be there. If you get an error in this, you will just remove the column keyword and just write alter table name, add commission number 12. No need to add the column keyword if you get error here in this query. Understood? Next, what else I can alter? Suppose name, not name. Suppose department is varchar, isn't it? Or suppose department is varchar. I want to make department as number 1, 2, 3, 4. These numbers. So how can I change the data type? Changing the data type is also a DDL statement. So I use alter table employee. What I'm changing, I'm modifying. I'm not adding anything. I'm modifying. See, I think the column keyword is not there. Probably it is not there. I forgot. Just check it. Huh? Alter table employee, modify. Which column I want to modify? Department. So department. What do I want to modify it to? I want to modify it to number. It was varchar. I want to make it number. So number, and I assign a size. Now, whenever you change a data type, this is what this alter is for, changing the data type. Whenever I change the data type, there are certain rules or certain restrictions. What are those? First of all, this is already varchar, isn't it? Data is there in your table and it is already varchar. When it is already varchar, can I change it to number? I cannot, because it is already containing data which is of not number type, which is not number. So it cannot validate these data. So what is the option? The option is you have to delete all the records that are present in your table. After deleting all the records, next you have to change the data type to number. But if it was already number, suppose salary, let me write some salary, 300, 400, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I have 5,000. Okay. See here, before telling that, the table is incomplete. Okay, I did not add, I have added values here. I did not add any values here. This is not correct. It doesn't happen. When you add, each row is added. Okay, I cannot add that I will only, if I add only in salary column, the others will be null. I will show you that when we do practically when I show you the from the prompt. So name, suppose, name column I will fill later on. So here what did I do? Salary is varchar, isn't it? Salary is number. I want to change it to varchar. Can I do it? Salary was originally, when I created the table, salary was of number type. Now I want to change it to varchar. Can I do it? So what I have to do? I have to use the alter command. Modify salary to varchar. Can I do? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
We can do it because these are also characters. You can treat it as characters. So if it is already number, I can change to varchar, no problem. But if it is varchar, I cannot change it to number until and unless I delete the records and then I can change the data type. Okay, next. Suppose while creation, salary, the size of salary I had given was 5. Okay, so how many digits will be accepted? 5 digits for salary at max. But later on, I thought that there are rows when you will try to insert this record.
Ma'am?
Suppose E3.
Ma'am, when we are declaring the data type, that digit we write in the parenthesis is actually the hello.
Tell me a little bit
Ma'am,
louder. Your voice is very low.
Ma'am, I'm asking that the digit we write in the parenthesis bracket, hello, is actually the number is number of bits is number of bits or length of the data input data.
A character is how many bits? If I say a single
He is
character.
asking what, ma'am, he is asking what are those parameters in numeric, as precision and scale.
No,
I'm
I'm
saying
not
yes,
asking
I
that.
understood your question. What is a character? It is in bytes, isn't it? It is bytes. One character is a byte, a single byte. So if you
Okay.
write 6, that means at max 6 characters you can assign. Okay, so if you write 5 here, you can assign 5 digits at max. Now see, here if I assign a value which is greater than this one, then what I have to do later on, you will get an error that your numeric the size is not adjusting or something like this, some error like this you will get. So what we have to do, we cannot assign that record. If I cannot assign that record, then I have to alter the table. When I alter the table, salary, I have to modify the salary size. So what I write, it is already number, it was number. I only I increase the size. Okay, I increase the size and let the size be 20. Okay, now when I increase the size, then no problem. But suppose if I write number, I'm decreasing the size of salary and I'm making it 4. Can I do this? No, I cannot do this. Decreasing the size of any data type is not allowed until and unless and it is better to delete the records than decrease the size, because there may be some records which are not matching the size that you have mentioned. Since you are decreasing the size, there may be some values which are would take much more bytes than that you have reserved. So whenever you decrease the size, either you should keep in mind your data set, or you should delete the records and then try it. Okay. So what are the things? What are the things we did with alter command? With alter command, we dropped the constraint. With alter command, we added a new column along with its data type. With alter command, we modified the existing data type of a column. With alter command, we changed the size, increase or decrease the size of a particular column. What else I can do with alter command? See, A I have written in capital letter, but it is case insensitive. Achha, what else can I do? What are the other constraints I told you? I told you about unique constraints. So primary key is already discussed. Unique, not null, check constraint. Foreign key, I did not tell yet. It will take time. So unique, not null, and check. These are the constraints. While creating the table, did I add any such constraints, unique constraint? No, I did not add unique constraint, not null constraint. These constraints are not added, isn't it? So I have to do that. It is not necessary that always you have to add constraint. It is not necessary, but it is a good programming practice or a good writing SQLs, it is a good practice that you should always, or good design, we should say, that constraints are there in your table so that users cannot insert randomly whatever they wish. Now, suppose I have not added a constraint. I forgot to add the constraint. So what is there any way to add it later on? Yes, there is a way. We are going to alter the table. So alter table, employee, add constraint, add constraint. Suppose let me give a name, UK1, and then I'm writing unique. Unique is a constraint. So this is the constraint type, and which column I'm adding unique. Let me give a column. Let it be name. Let me give. But it is actually name is not unique, but let me add it name. Okay. So this is the method of adding a constraint at the during alter table. This was unique. Alter table is always a table level declaration. See, I have the table is already created. So this is known as a table level declaration. In the table level declaration, all constraints can be added except one, that is the not null constraints. Not null constraints should always be added at column level, not at table level, because in table level, we generally combination attributes we add. That is the advantage. In table level, we can also write one column. It is not that always we have to assign combination attribute, but it is the advantage that table level gives us. Now, not null, no question of combination, not null, isn't it? Not null is unassigned. So not null is a constraint which has to be assigned only in column level. So alter table, table name, I cannot add a not null constraints. So whenever you create the table, there itself you have to write not null. Suppose I want name to be not null. So what I write, name, and then I write constraint, CK1, and then I write not space null. So this is every name, there should be a name. No cell should be empty. So alter table, employee, add constraint, UK1, unique name. This is one constraint I can add at table level. Another constraint is check constraint. So I can write alter table, employee, add constraint, CCK. What is the type of constraint? Check. When I will write the constraint here, then I will write the condition. What is the condition? I want that salary should be less than equal to, let me give a random value. Suppose this is a constraint. So whenever you insert a record, since there is a constraint in the salary column, it will check that is the constraint validated. So because all these constraints are recorded in the system table. So whenever you insert a record, it goes and checks that system table where the constraints definitions are written, and it will find out that is it validating the constraint. If it validates, then it will allow you to insert, otherwise it will give constraint violated. Okay. Now let me come to foreign key constraint. Let me fill it up. And let me copy it. Achha, if I want that all the names should start with A. Suppose, if let me write it with department. I want that all the departments should start with D. There can be anything, but the pattern of departments that I want in my table is that it should start with D. Or the pattern of employees that I want in my table should start with E. I can add such constraints. So how can I add that? Can any those who already know SQL, can you tell me? You understood my question? I want a check constraint in the EMPID column where I want that every name should start with capital E. Those who already know, can you help me to write this query? Hmm? Can anyone tell me what I have to do? I have to do alter. Okay. The constraint is not added in the create table. We could have already. Achha, how do I add a check constraint in the create table? If I want to add it in the create table itself, can I do it? What I want, employee ID to be starting with E1. So suppose here, can I add two constraints in a single column? Yes, I can add two constraint, three constraint. Any number of constraints can be added to your column. To any column, any number of constraints can be added. Maybe this is a primary key. This also has employee ID is a primary key. Employee ID has check constraint. We can assign those constraints. Okay, many constraints can be added to a single column. So here, employee ID is a primary key. I also want to add another constraint, that is the check constraint. So how I will add it? Constraint. I want CHKKK1. Then I want check. What is the condition I want? The condition is, should be given in bracket. And the condition is, what is the condition? Salary, not salary, sorry, EMPID. EMPID should start with capital E. So in the condition, I will use an operator. Last time in the salary condition, what operator did I use? This is a relational operator, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. These are all relational operators. So in any condition, I use operators in between. Now, so there are how many operators? I'm coming to that. Just let me tell about this in between. Relational operator is there. Same like in C, whatever we have, those are there. Arithmetic operators are there. Plus, minus, into, divide, modulus, all these are there. Then we have logical operators are there. Logical is and, or, and not. Okay. Everybody has joined. They were feeling sleepy or what?
No.
Getting bored. Okay, let us start. So I was talking about relational operator, arithmetic operator, logical and logical operator is what? And or not. We also have another operator, a special operator is there called like operator. Like operator. See, relational is which one? Less than, greater than, all those. Less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. These are all relational operators, okay, which you already know. Arithmetic operators are plus, minus, into, plus, minus, etc. Then we have logical and or not. These are used for joining more than one condition. These operators are used where? In conditions. Wherever I give a condition, I use operators. Then we have like operator. How do I write a like operator? We write in this manner. Let's see. Where I was writing? Yes. EMP ID check. The condition is check. Let me write it on the line. Check EMP ID like. Like is used for some pattern matching. So how do I write it? I give a single quotes first and then write. There are two characters we use, two symbols we can use. One is, let me write it here. One is percentage. When I use like, there are two symbols. One is percentage, another one is underscore. What is the meaning of percentage? Percentage means 0 or more characters. 0 or more characters. And what is this underscore? Underscore means a single character. What is the meaning of this? Suppose I want employee name, employee ID to be starting with E. So what I will write here, I will write check EMP ID like capital E is the first letter. Then did I say that it should start with E and then it can have anything, any number of characters, isn't it? It can have anything. So it can either have 0, only E, or it can have any number of characters. So if I write E percentage, the meaning is it will start with E, the employee ID will start with E. The first character will be E, capital E, and then it can have anything, either 0, when no characters are there, or it can have any number of characters. Now, if you want that at least...
Ma'am, can we apply a constant in which E is followed by only numbers?
Only numbers?
Yes, ma'am.
No, see, only if you want numbers here, either you have to mention it using or you have to mention the numbers. Then it will be a with or all the conditions has to be joined. If you want so many numbers, how many numbers you want? That you did not mention, isn't it? So let me tell you one more thing here. If I only write E percentage, the meaning is I can have names like this. I can have names E, I can have E1, I can have EE, anything. But if I want after E, at least one digit should be there. One digit or one character should be there. It can be a digit, it can be a character. Then there can be anything. But at least after E, there should be something, maybe 1, 2, 3, or anything else. And then there can be anything, or there may not be anything. Then what I have to do? I have to write that after E, there is obvious a character. But I will not accept any employee which starts. I will not accept any employee ID which only has E. What is the meaning of only E? It doesn't have any meaning, isn't it? So I want E, then there should be a character, and then there can be anything, any characters. Okay.
Ma'am, repeat একবার।
Hmm? What?
লাস্টটা রিপিট করে যেটা বললেন, লাস্টটা রিপিট করতে বলছিলাম।
If I only write E percentage, the meaning, which category of names it will accept? It will accept E, শুধু E accept করবে, কারণ পার্সেন্টেজ মানে জিরো ক্যারেক্টার থাকতে পারে E এর পরে, জিরো মানে কিছু না থাকতে পারে, বা একটা থাকতে পারে, বা যা খুশি থাকতে পারে, তাই তো? পার্সেন্টেজ মানে কি? জিরো or more characters, any number of characters, বা কিছুই নেই, জিরো ক্যারেক্টার্স। তাহলে E নামটা ভ্যালিড, E1 টা ভ্যালিড, E2, 3, 4 টাও ভ্যালিড এর ক্ষেত্রে, যদি আমি শুধু E পার্সেন্টেজ লিখি। কিন্তু যদি আমি এরকম লিখি যে E পার্সেন্টেজ and then I write underscore and then I write, acha, only E underscore means what? Underscore means একটা ক্যারেক্টার থাকতেই হবে, there should be a single character, a single character. It can be any characters, A, B, C, D, whatever you want, but there should be a character. Okay. Now, if I write E underscore, that means all employee IDs are how many digits? 2 digits are there. Two characters are there. E, then a character. Isn't it? So everybody is 2 digits. But if I don't want to fix the number of digits, then I will write E underscore percentage. E underscore percentage means it can be every name, every ID has to be 2 digits at least, or it can be more than that. So if this percentage is zero or more characters, so if it is 0, then E underscore means 2 digit IDs. And percentage can have more than 1 characters, or more than other many characters, then it will be greater than 2 digits. Now you tell me, we can also write that the employee ID will start with E1, then it will have a number underscore, and then it can have anything. So all employee IDs will be E1, maybe 2, 3, 4. E1, 9, 2, 3. So this way. So every number, every ID is starting with E1, and then it can have any numbers. So this is this one. Okay. If you want another option, if you want to give, then you have to write another condition, or write or, and then write EMP ID. Join two conditions using the or, and you can give another condition. Maybe it can start with E1 underscore percentage, and it can also start with E2 underscore percentage. Okay. So we can join
Can
many
we-
conditions using.
Hello? Ma'am,
Yes.
can we use 2 underscores like E underscore underscore? If I want 3 characters.
E underscore underscore, E1 underscore underscore means what? It means E1 must be there in the beginning, then there will be 2 characters, then percentage. Okay. Now tell me, if I join another condition here, or see, whenever you are joining conditions, should give a bracket. This is one of the condition. This is another condition. My daughter is saying to me, what Shikhat? And we have another condition. Let it be. Let the condition be. What did you have? Let me give this condition. You will tell me what is the meaning. EMP ID, like, single quotes, and then I have written underscore, then I have written E, then I have given another underscore, then I wrote percentage. Can anybody define what I wanted to accept as employee ID? The third one, third condition.
Data should start with any character followed by E, then any character, then followed by E, one or more characters after D.
Followed by?
When first any character, then E, then one or more characters.
So second character, every ID, second character should be E. Then there must be a character. And then there can be anything. So how many characters are there in this condition employee ID? How many characters it will have? At least?
Three.
These three.
At least it will have 3 characters, and second character must be E. Okay. So this way we can add, there are lots of other things we can do with all these like operators. I will show you when we will do select clause. Let me come back here. We said like what I was saying, check constraint, isn't it? So check constraint I have given here with this condition. Since I was talking about operators, let me tell you another operators which is known as concatenation operator. Concatenation operator. Concatenation operator is
What is
symbol.
this? What is this apostrophe
symbol.
called? Which we are writing after like? That apostrophe.
Apostrophe. Where is apostrophe?
Like we are writing a comma. Apostrophe.
That is not comma, that is single quotes.
We'll say it in like DBMS. Is it has some particular name or something?
I did not get you. What you're saying? This is a single quote. Every
We
value
have-
that you
Do we have any particular name for this in the DBMS?
No, it is single quotes. Now see, whenever we assign a value, this is a value, isn't it? E1 underscore percentage is after like we are assigning that. So it is case sensitive. In SQL, normal SQL commands are not case sensitive, but you have to keep in mind that when you are assigning a value within single quotes or double quotes or whatever value you are assigning, those values are always case sensitive. If you write capital, then it is capital. If you write small, then it will be small. And you have to, when you do some matching, you have to keep that in mind that what was the case of that letter. But when you write commands, it is case insensitive. You can write in any form. So concatenation operator is this pipe operator, this one. Okay. Next, what is the utilization of concatenation operator? I will not tell now. Let me complete this part. When we will discuss about select, I will tell you this. For the time being, these operators are all right. These are the operators. Now, the thing is how I insert records into this table. Insertion of records, today what I said to is create I said, alter I said, drop I did not say. Drop also I said, isn't it? Alter table, table name, drop constraint, constraint name. If I want to drop the full table, then what I do, I simply write drop. I don't write alter. When I want to drop the full table, then the table along with its data will be dropped, will be deleted from the database. So drop table, table name, employee. Clear? Okay, so all the DDL statements I have already said you. Now I will tell you one DML operation. Data manipulation language. What is this data manipulation language means? It means these sort of commands deals with the data that is present within the table. Deals with not the structure, it deals with the data present within the object or tables. Present within the table. Okay. What are the examples of DML? So the all DML commands deals with the data, this data. Okay, it can modify the data, it can insert a record, can delete a record. So it deals with this record. Which one? How many records are there in this table? I said last time. How many records are there in this table?
5.
Each individual tuple is a record, isn't it? This is a record. This is a record. So each individual tuple. What is a tuple? Each individual row is a tuple. Now, so 5 tuples are there or 5 records are there. So any command which deals with the records come under this category, DML. Now, what are the commands? Insert for inserting a new record, update for updating the existing records. We have delete for, these are basic 3 commands. We have delete for deleting an existing record. So let me tell you about insert. What happened? Mute yourself, everybody. I want to insert those records, isn't it? These records. So what I will do is, the command is, first of all, let me show you the commands. Insert into table name. What is the table name? Employee. There are many options. One by one, I will tell you the options. Listen it carefully. Insert into employee. This is the first option I'm showing you. Write the names of the columns one after another. Achha, before that, let me tell you, don't write the names, just write insert into employee, then write values, then write the values one after another. E1 is a character type, a varchar type. So I write E1 within quotes, comma. Next is what? Name. Name is also varchar. So I write within quotes the name. Next, we have salary. It is numeric type, number type. So I don't give a quote. I simply write the value without quotes. Next, I have department, which is varchar. So I write D1. And the last one is commission. So it is number. I don't give a quotes. I insert the records. This is a very simple way of inserting I said you. Here, if you notice that the order I have maintained is same as the order in which the table was created. Table was created means the columns were created in this order. First EMP ID, then where did the table go? First EMP ID, then name, then salary, then department. This is the order in which it was created. So in that same order, I have inserted, I have mentioned the values. So how many rows will be created? 1 row will be created. Okay. Now, if I don't remember what was the order of creation, might happen that I don't remember what was the order while I created the table. Then what I will do, I will give in my own order. If you want to give the data in your own order without remembering the columns ordering while creating, then you will write insert into employee, give a bracket, then write your own order in which you want to insert. Suppose I'm writing department first, then EMP ID, then commission. The spelling should be same as whatever is, otherwise you will get invalid column name, an error. Then EMP ID. Anything else I have? Salary. The order, I have mentioned my own order. and then I have written values. And in this particular order, you will insert the value. So you will insert the value for department ID first, D2. Then you will
Ma'am, we
insert
have
for
written employee
Huh?
ID 2 times. Ma'am, we have written employee ID 2 times.
what you are saying?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
you
you
have
have
written
written
EMP ID 2 times.
We have missed the name, ma'am.
Oh, acha,
Yes.
I have missed the name. Let this one be name. So D2 first, then I have EMP ID, let it be E2. Can I insert E1 again? No, because EMP ID is the primary key, isn't it? I cannot insert duplicate values. So E2. Next, I can insert what is there? Commission. So whatever is the commission, you just insert. Then I have name, and then I have what? Salary. So we are mentioning the pattern in which we are going to insert. This is the order in which we are going to insert. Okay, this is the second option. What is the third option? See, here the problem with this option is, one, if you want to insert 1000 records, then every time you have to write this line, again write the values. So this is very tedious. So we can do another method is there, which is known as multiple insertion. The multiple insertion method is insert into employee. Then you will write values. And I hope you are giving in that same order of creation. If you want to change the order, you can write here before values, you can write your own order. Okay. Then you write values. Then EMP ID is the first column, which is varchar. So give a single quotes and then write ampersand EMP ID, comma. The second column was the name. So I write it is varchar. So I write ampersand name. The third column is yes, third column salary department commission. So accordingly, I do salary. Salary is doesn't require this one quotes. So ampersand salary. Then I have department, and then I have commission. Fine. Once you write this, you haven't given the values. What you will do is you will press enter. Once you press enter, they will ask you that there will be a prompt, okay, that enter the value for EMP ID. So you will enter the value. Enter the value for name, enter the value for salary, enter the value for department, enter the value for commission. Once you have entered all the values, then you will press enter. After pressing enter, you just write slash, front slash. When you write front slash and press enter, then it will again ask for the new record. When you enter the value for EMP ID, so it will be for the second record. Every time you just finish, if you want 100 records to be inserted, just give a back front slash and then go on inserting the records. So this command will get executed every time. Okay. This was your insert. After every insert, you should obviously write this line commit. What is the meaning of this line? Did I say you about the Oracle server architecture?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
Last day I did not say about the architecture.
No, ma'am.
Just let me tell you here. We have time now, 15 minutes is there. Suppose this is the Oracle server architecture, okay? This is a practical one. In theoretical architecture, I will be telling in the one from the book, which is this is not a theoretical diagram. This is actually what is there within the server. Suppose these are the two parts. Okay, the first part is known as, this is the Oracle. What I'm showing you is the Oracle server architecture. Oracle server architecture. Oracle server architecture. First part is known as the instance, and the second part is known as the database. I will give another new definition of database now. We already have defined two database definitions. Now I will give another definition. So first part is instance, which is actually the memory part. Primary memory, okay? Memory, primary. This instance has three memory structures. The three memory structures are known as it will be here. Okay, I'm not changing because we have very less time. The first part is known as the library cache. It's a cache memory. Library cache. Then we have DB buffer cache. And the last one we have redo buffer. All buffers are primary memory. All buffers are primary memory. So the first part instance is primary memory. What is its job? I will tell you. What is this database? This is the secondary memory. Secondary memory. Here, suppose hard disk. Here again there are three parts. There are three parts. First part is known as control file. Let me write first data file. Three files are there in the database. There are three files. So the second one is control file. Control file. And the third one is redo log file. And this one is redo log buffer. And this is redo log file. Redo log file. Now see, now I will give you another definition of database. Database is a collection of three operating system files, or three files. Instead of just saying operating system files, you can say database is a collection of three files, three physical files, and the files are data file, control file, and redo log file. Okay, so three definitions I have given you. One is the theoretical definition, which says that it is a collection of logically related data. Second definition is it is a collection of objects, where objects are tables, views. And the third definition is actually physically, those two were logical definitions. And now I'm giving you the physically. Database is a collection of three files. The three files are data file, control file, and redo log file. And in the Oracle server architecture, we have instance is the primary memory area, and the secondary memory where actually the three database files are stored. In the instance, we have three cache. One is library cache, DB buffer cache, and redo log buffer. Okay. In the now, whatever tables we create, like we have just now created a table, the actual table stays in this data file. which form it stays. It doesn't stay in tabular structure. Tabular structure is a relational form, is a logical approach. When it is actually stored in the database, that is the data file, then it is stored in operating system blocks format. Okay. How many minutes are left?
7 minutes.
For this 40 minutes, 7 minutes are left. Now, so you understood the actual tables that you are creating are stored in the data file. In other words, the data for the database is stored in the data file. Control file and redo log files are the files which maintains the consistency. The maintenance of the database is done by these files. Maintenance means if there is a failure, we should be able to recover from the failure, so that whatever permanent data that is saved in your data file should be available to the users. So control file, redo log buffer, and yeah, these three, redo log buffer, control file, and the redo log files are used for recovery management. What is that? I will tell you one by one, not today. What is this DB buffer cache? When I want to update a table, suppose I want to alter a table, I want to update a table. So all these operations, can I do it directly in the secondary memory? No, I cannot access the secondary memory directly. What I have to do? I have to fetch the table that I want to update. Actually, we don't fetch the table, we fetch a block. Those details not now. I have to fetch the the target record from the data file to the DB buffer cache. So I fetch it from the data file, keep it in the DB buffer cache, work on that is updation, deletion, whatever operation SQL you are doing, do it here, and then again resave it here in the data file. Okay. How do I resave it in the data file? By writing commit operation. By writing commit. So when I write commit, whatever updation, alteration, deletion, drop, whatever you did, that will be permanently saved in your data file. Until and unless you write commit, the updation that you have performed will be present only in the instance, and in case of memory failure, it won't be recovered. But once you have written commit, maybe just after writing you have your machine crashed or some problem happened. Still, from these log buffer and redo log file, these are log files. So what operation you did are present in these log files. So these log files will help you to recover your data if you have written commit. So once you write commit, you should be sure that your data is available in the data file. But if you don't write commit, and if some failure occurs, whatever updation you have performed won't be saved. Your data file will still contain the old data. Now, redo log buffer, whatever updation you do is first written in the redo log buffer, and then since redo log buffer is also temporary, volatile, so it is transferred to the redo log file. So these two contents are same. Control file helps in recovery management. And what is this library cache? Library cache, suppose you are performing a query and every time you require to access the employee table. So what it will do is, it will keep the employee table in the library cache. So anytime when I require the employee table, I will fetch it from the library cache instead of going to the data file and fetching it, because accessing the secondary memory will is not very time efficient. So if I keep it beside me, that means in the library cache, I can fetch it from the library cache directly. Okay, this is a very gist about the Oracle Server architecture I said. Hence, where I was in DML statements. So whenever you write a DML statement, you should write commit. Now the question is, why not in case of DDL statements? Did I say to write commit in case of DDL statements? I did not say, because all DDL statements are auto-committed. All DDL statements are auto-committed. Nowadays, when we use a higher version of Oracle, they also auto-commit the DML statements, some versions of Oracle, but it is always better to write commit after every DML statements. Clear? But DDL statements are auto-committed. Whatever I said today, have you written it in your copy? Many things, I said many things. So I will not repeat all this again. Another thing is, when you today or tomorrow, I will be sending you that Oracle document. All of you install that Oracle so that next day onwards, we both of your side and me also, I can show you through this one. Through the SQL prompt, I will show you these SQL commands. Now, next day, that means tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow I have class. Tomorrow I will be not teaching SQL. I will be teaching you again theoretical parts, like regarding constraints only, but something not related to SQL, some other topics. And what I have planned is today is Wednesday, so since we have class from 2 o'clock, that's why I have planned to do SQL every this day, Wednesday, and next day we are going to do the theory part. Okay. This was the planning. All of you write in the chat box your roll number.